If there's anything to know about our guest this evening for our NFL chat segment, it's that he's a smash-mouth and hard-nosed football player, the highest compliment you can give any football player.
Yes, and don't forget Super Bowl winning champion with confidence, bravado, and plenty of outspoken opinions to boot. So that includes on this topic of the NFL lockout. So please, everyone, help me show your love for our VIP tonight, Pittsburgh Steelers safety, Ryan Clark, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Thanks for being here.
Man, I feel like a wrestler. That was awesome.
Well, we have to welcome you properly, but I wasn't going to do so in my orange suit because I didn't want you calling me a FAMU cheerleader or a jack-o'-lantern tonight. Thanks.
Hey, I would definitely do that, but you know what? I wouldn't do that on your show. I would let you have the spotlight. I would not. I would say how beautiful it looks on you.
Well, thank you. And we're going to turn the tables right back on you. Now, obviously, you've been in the midst of a lockout that's been lasting more than 100 days. Tell us how you have been spending your time. I know you've been doing it training. You've been on the Monique show. You've been all over all these national shows. Describe what's been going on.
You know, like I said one time to somebody asked me, you know, what have I been doing? I said, you know, they gave me lemons, and I'm trying to make the best lemonade possible. And that's what it's been, spending time with my family. I got to do the Monique show. I've been on ESPN First Take and done some ESPN shows. Also just got an opportunity to go back to LSU and do some things there. So it's been really fun for me. Right now I'm out here in Arizona training. It's extremely hot, but this is where I usually go when the season is about to start. And you know, we're having some positive talks in the lockout, so I want to be ready when that time comes.
Ryan, let's switch gears to the actual situation at hand. The issues remaining so we can start playing football again. Seems like most of the issues are settled. The rookie weight scale was a big one that we overcame, but there's still questions about free agency, off-season workout. In your mind, as a player being involved in negotiations, what issues are still remaining that are holding up a deal from finally being completed?
I think money is always a big issue. You know, we've reached some ground there where we want to go. But a big thing, if you're going to get concessions, you know, you want to get things in other places that aren't monetary. And that's what we're working on right now. Like you said, you know, making sure the free agency is done in the right way, making sure the off-season is conducted in the right manner. Also, training camp practices has been a big deal. Former players' insurance, you know, guaranteed money for players with injury. You know, if you're going to give a little on the monetary side, which we have been trying to work with them with, we do want some non-monetary things given in its place. And so I think those things can be hammered out, but there, you know, are a lot of those things to be done.
And I think that also includes the restoration of a $320 million lost in benefits from an uncapped season in 2010, and obviously settling with the Brady antitrust case, as well as getting workman's compensation and TV damages from that lockout insurance case. But also, Dominique Foxworth made a power move, according to reports, in the middle of one of these negotiations where he let the owners know that there was a secret kind of lockout fund that the players have been storing up that would amount to about $200,000 per player. Tell us what you know about this, and how long have you guys known?
Well, I can honestly say, you know, the guys that go to the meetings are part of the executive committee for the players. These are the guys, you know, we elected to go into these meeting negotiations. And clearly, everybody can go into it, but this has been news to a lot of us, to basically all of us. I think it's been something that D. Smith did, and I think it was a very smart move. And, you know, Foxworth finally came out and let those guys know in the meeting that we had this going. But I think it gives us another bargaining tool, and it also lets players not be so restless about the lockout. Clearly, for those guys who make $10 million, $15 million a year, you know, that's not going to be the type of money that they were expecting, but it does give you an opportunity to continue to negotiate, continue to get the fairest deal possible.
And continuing on that same subtopic, did it make you want to just re-stretch out your legs and say, hey, if I got $200,000 coming, then I'm not necessarily as rushed to get back, or like, no, even though I got that money set aside, we still got to get this thing done?
Yeah, you still want to get it done. I think the biggest thing is I will make a lot more money playing football than I will not playing football. I think these things are things, though, that D. Smith, you know, put into place to help us, though. And I think they have been working well, and it was such an enormous pick and such an intelligent thing to do to elect D. Smith to help the players.
And speaking of D. Smith, what do you think has been the job that he has been doing as far as just rating it? Do you think, looking back at it now, litigation was the right course?
I'm not sure. You know, we didn't want to go to litigation in the beginning, but it's what we end up having to do.
Right.
And it has helped us in certain places. But when you look at it, Had we been able to hammer out a deal before, we wouldn't have went the litigation route. But going that route has helped us in some ways. Obviously, we didn't win the case to get an injunction of the lockout, but the lockout was still not rendered legal. So I think that helps us also in the antitrust situation. So it's been, I think we've been a step ahead the whole time. You know, when the NFL hires a guy who locked out the NHL to run this program for them right now, you know, we kind of were a step ahead, and he had a playbook. And we read that playbook, and I think D. Smith has to get a 10 if we're rating him 1 out of 10 for the things that he's done.
All right, well, let's talk about James Harrison, one of your teammates, obviously in the news this week after a controversial article in Men's Journal. First of all, what was your reaction to that when he spewed what some may say was his hate onto the commissioner of the NFL, as well as calling out some of your teammates, that in Ben Roethlisberger and Rashard Mendenhall, and then also just kind of the controversial picture with the guns?
The picture doesn't bother me. I mean, I think it's one of those situations, if they're his and if they're legal, or even if they're just toys taken for the picture, I don't mind that. You know, people, you know, do carry guns. It's about being responsible with them. As far as Roger Goodell goes, I don't really, you know, care about that. That's the way James feels. A guy who was fined the way he was fined and talked to the way he was talked to, you know, is going to have some ill will or some ill feelings toward him. I was actually interviewed for the same article by the guy, and I knew he spent a lot of time with James. And a lot of those things that he said were conversational. Sometimes like a conversation, you know, you'd have with somebody else, and where you're just saying things and then pieced together in that way. If you look at the way the questions or the subtitles were before each statement, it would just say on Ben Roethlisberger, because it wasn't a question that he asked and all those things were said in concession. And consecutively, you know, he kind of pieced it together from things he got from the conversation. And you have to know, when dealing with the media, even though I know you guys are media, you know, your job is sensationalism sometimes. You want to get the juicy story. And he gave, you know, and James, through talking to him, gave the guy the opportunity to make the story as juicy as possible. You know, I talked to him on the phone. He's talked to Ben, and we're fine. You know, the whole NFL is very happy. I'm seeing on Twitter, they think the Steelers are falling apart, and, you know, I think they're crazy. Well, you know, we're still going to go out here and play football.
And to that end, you're saying some of the fans think that the Steelers are falling apart. Do you think that the organization will feel that they need a PR makeover when you're looking at guys like Ben Roethlisberger with the sexual assault charges, when you're looking at him with the motorcycle crash, Hines Ward with the DUI, Rashard Mendenhall with the tweets and all those things in aggregate? Do you think that the Steelers are saying, whoa, 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 we were once a stellar, kind of clean, pristine organization, and now we're taking these media hits? How do you think they will handle that?
I think they'll handle it well. I mean, if you look at the guys you're talking about, extremely good community guys, and good men. I mean, people make mistakes. The thing about Rashard's tweet, I think that is just so minimal for us to even be talking about that. It's crazy. Ben's past things, you know, that's over. You know, he's moved on past that. He's become a better man, a better leader, a better teammate, and, you know, we're fine with that. And so all these little things that are happening, you know, sometimes they happen. Sometimes they happen in 3, sometimes they happen in 4s. And just for us, you know, it's just been kind of one of those off season, but we're going to be fine. The Roonies understand the type of people that we have in the building, the type of people that we have on our team. And it's not just about the players, you know, they know the men. So I think we'll be good.
And real quick, just to wrap up that last subtopic, so are you telling me that you're okay, since you're saying you're okay with the comments he made about Roger Goodell when he says if he was on fire and he wouldn't piss to put him out, you know, that's something that people are saying is controversial because you're essentially, or maybe he's essentially saying that he would leave him to, you know, pass away or to die. So you're saying you're okay with that, or what?
It's not about whether I'm okay with it. You know, it's about whether James and whatever God he prays to, you know, me being a Christian, it's about him and getting on his knees at night and understanding what he said and how he feels. You know, James came out and he said what he said. I think what people are doing is, you know, that's a statement that's made in slang or in jest every day by somebody. Right. Clearly, in that situation, it's going to be blown out of proportion because James Harrison is an all-pro player and Roger Goodell is the commissioner. And I think what really bothers me is the way people get holier than thou when these things happen. James's
comments aside, rank and file, what do you think the players think about Commissioner Goodell as we're winding down? There have been very harsh words, including James's, but from the players as a whole, what's the perception and opinion of Goodell?
Clearly, you know, players don't see him as an ally. Players don't see him as working for us. When his term came around for him to be reelected or reappointed to commissioner, that poll wasn't given to us. We didn't have a vote in that. So we know that he's not here for us. He's here for the NFL. He's here for the owners, and that's all he cares about. We also know that they will recycle us. You know, when they're done, we're all used up, and when they can't make any more money off of the players, you know, Roger Goodell will just get new ones. And I think he's in some way has made himself the face of the league. So in some ways, you're going to be part of this scrutiny. Do I think he cares about us as people and as players? I don't. Do I think he cares about the shield? Maybe he does. And he cares about himself. You know, so God willing, with him having that type of attitude and looking at going about things that way, he won't run this league into the ground.
Ryan, we appreciate you so much for joining us on this program and talking about the NFL lockout as we wind down the days towards a conclusion. Thank you for coming on. We got some parting gifts for you, which includes some Tic Tacs and some Rolaids that we give all players on the show. Cool with that?
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, make sure you use it because I know you're going to dinner tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.